Hello everyone, welcome to Python Toolkit for Beginners. In this video I show how to add new component in Pipesim model on network and well layers. Let's start from creating the new model. I've already specified the path to the model and I can create the new model using the model class and method new. I need to set argument file name and I'm going to use model path as argument. Let's wait the response from PTK service. So the model was successfully created and I can request general information about this model to make sure that it was created. So in the response model about, I see that the model name is placed in the temp new model pips. Now I can add some new components. I'm going to add source, junction and flow line and connect them. So let's add the new component. I can use model add method and here we have several arguments and I need to set at least two. So I need to set what the component I'm going to add and what's the name of this component. So first of all, component will be, let's add first, for example, source, model components source, and I need to set the name of this component. It will be source1. I'm going to use this line, copy it, and use in the next line. So the source was added. Now I can add, instead of the source, junction and use the name G1, and I can add flow line. It should be flow line and the name of the flow line FL1. So three components were successfully added and I can connect them. For connection you can use model connect and then say what's the source and destination. So the source will be source1 connected to destination is FL1. Copy this line and then reuse it. And this time we connect the FL1 with junction G1. So components are connected. And I will save the model and check from user interface what's the result. So let's go to the ctemp, open new model, and you can see that three objects were successfully added. Since we have not defined any coordinates, so Pipesim placed them in the left top corner, but three objects are connected properly and they are highlighted because there are missed properties. So we can set the properties after, but we also can set properties during the creation. So let's create again the same components with slightly different name, but this time with properties. Let's start from the source. Again, we have the model component source, the name will be source2, and we can set the third argument parameters. So parameters, and we need to pass the dictionary with properties. I'm going to use parameters, source, copy this and use it later, and we need to set following properties. So for source it can be pressure, temperature, and we need to set coordinates. So I'm going to set the pressure, and pressure can be 1000 for example. Then temperature will be 80, and I need to set the coordinates. X coordinate can be, for example, 100, and Y coordinate can be, for example, 500. And let me just apply changes to the model, and model contains source2. I'm going to add junction, and then I will use the same code, replace the source2 junction, call it G2, and in parameters junction doesn't contain pressure and temperature value, so I'm going to remove it and use coordinates. So we used 100 at 500, and for junction let's use 300 and keep 100 for Y coordinate and apply them. And I'm going to use the same code to add flow line. So again, I replace the model components to flow line, call it FL2, and parameters, there is no need to use coordinate because flow line doesn't have coordinate. Flow line uses the coordinates from the boundary nodes, but we still need to define some parameters. So I type the parameters, flow line, copy it, and then we have a lot of different parameters. So let's go back to the user interface and see what's needed. So we need to define inside diameter and we need to define horizontal distance. So let's go back to the code and type inside. So we have inner diameter. Let's use, for example, 4, and we need horizontal distance. Horizontal distance, and this time let's use 1000 and try to apply changes. Okay, then we can save the model and check from user interface what was changed. Open the same model one more time, and you can see that we added source, junction, and flow line. Flow line is not connected to source or junction, so it's visualized as the small dot. And let me just connect them. I'm going to reuse the code I've already used to connect components. So I will use model connect. This time I use source 2 and connect with flow line. Then I use flow line 2 and connect with junction 2. And model save. Model was saved. Let's open this model one more time and see. Okay, now we have components connected properly. We have source connected to flow line and junction. There is no validation for flow line, but there is some validation for source. When I open, I see that the pressure and temperature is defined, but there is no fluid. So I need to create the fluid and assign this fluid to the source. But I'm not going to do it right now. Let's go back to the code and create, for example, let's create the well. So model, add, component will be model components well. Need also to set the name. The name will be, for example, well 1. And I create the well, and I forgot to enter parameters. So I can do it right now because, for example, model well contains the coordinate when it's placed on the network layer. So I can do it using the set value and specify the context. So the context will be well 1. Then I set the parameter. Parameter will be parameters well x coordinate, and the value can be, for example, 500. Let me copy this line. I will use it one more time, but this time I replaced x by y and say that it will be 100. Set coordinates, save model, model saved, and I can check user interface and make sure that the well was successfully added. You can see that the well was added. If we double click on the well, we see there is no equipment inside this well because we have not added anything here. So let's go back to the code and try to add some equipment inside the well. So I will use the same model add. Let me just copy it here, model add. So I'm going to add, first of all, casing. And the name of the casing can be casing 1. But I need to say somehow, Python toolkit, that this casing should be part of the well 1 and not other wells. So I need to specify context. I will use context and then say the well 1. And I also need to set some parameters. So parameters will be, okay, let's type the parameters. Casing. And what parameter could be for the casing? First of all, it should be top measure depth. And we start from the 0. Then say we need to specify the length. For casing, it can be 10,000. And we need to set inner diameter. The value could be, for example, 8. And we need to set wall thickness. For casing, it could be 0.5. Let's try to apply changes. So the casing was successfully added and assigned to the context well 1. And I'm going to use the same code and add maybe this time tubing. So use the tubing, call it tube 1. Context will be the same. I also need top measure depth Length, I need to adjust it slightly. It could be 8000. Inner diameter could be 4, and wall thickness definitely should be 0.1. Let's add tubing and save the model. Open the model in user interface and make sure that casing and tubing were successfully created and assigned to the well 1. Let's open well 1, and you can see that well now contains casing called casing 1 with properties, and tubing tube 1 with inner diameter 4, measured MD 8000, and wall thickness 0.1. So I successfully created the well, and now I finished my exercise and I need to close the session. Model close.